Well, what is up guys, Uni here, and welcome back to another episode of 10th Year Tidbits. Today, we have something special. Very special. It can't be a 10th year anniversary celebration of our YouTube channel without going back to, that's right, our most popular video of all time. Pinnacle, Age of Kulta. Our spectacular live-action spoof of the Marvel Avengers Age of Ultron trailer. Pinnacle Age of Kulta was a mashup with the Toa Heroes of 2015 along with the Skull Villains of the second half of 2015. This was actually planned to be the final video of the Uni Coca-Cola channel back in 2015. It's hard to believe that it has been a whole 5 years since this video came out. I mean, this video, as it is right at the time of this recording, it over 25,000 views in total, and almost 300 likes, and a pretty sizable amount of comments at that. And this came out at a time that, like I just said, was planned to be the ending of the Uni Coca-Cola channel. So I guess you could say that was kind of a inspiration to keep going, but I've talked about that enough in other videos, so let's get right to it. So I've got more than just a rewatch. I've got some extra tidbits, so we're gonna, since we're dedicating an entire video just to this, I'm gonna be taking a look at every little aspect. A lot of stop and go, but if you guys have not seen the video, I highly encourage you to. It was I dare say it was the pinnacle of this channel as far as content put out, and I don't know, it's just lightning in a bottle, kind of put our channel on the map. There are a couple other videos, of course, but this one in particular holds a special place because, of course, it is our most popular video, so gotta give it credit for that. But anyways, enough talking, let's get on to this rewatch. Pinnacle Age of Kulta. So yeah, these were all screens made specifically for this to parody the actual trailer. Yeah, these bootleg mountainsides. So if you go back there, those were just base plates from Lego. Obviously it's a very cheap parody, as stated in that disclaimer. However, we had to get some sort of representation, and that's kind of what paved the way for our videos, such as like Pinnacle Infinity War, other trailer parodies and stuff like that. So not very high quality, just kind of looking for an easy shortcut out. So yeah. You know what's funny is, after working on this video for so long, I can't not hear James Spader's voice as Kulta when I read about him in like Escape from the Underworld and other media from Pinnacle G2. Kind of weird, right? Same can be said for Thanos, Kuda, and Josh Brolin as Makuta. It just sticks.
Try to create a suit of armor around the world.
Obviously, having it live action means I actually have my hands in progress. It's not stop motion, so yeah.
It's called the Ultron program. I'm sick of watching people pay for our mistakes. Isn't why we fight so we can.
Yeah, so obviously there had to be stipulations where Onua and Gali as stand-ins for not the Hulk and then Black Widow. Kind of weird, because they're supposed to be brother-sister type thing. I know people have pointed that out before, but come on, it's a parody.
Nothing but our wit and our will.
Narmoto, Protector of Fire, as Nick Fury, because that's pretty much all we had to work with at the time.
I got no plans tomorrow night.
Supposed to be on top of a truck, but instead they're on top of a bin. And the Hulkbuster, man. Should have gotten a lot more screen time, but that mock is ridiculous. I know I've mentioned it before. There we go for the big shot. Bam. Yeah. The entirety of G1, or at least all the ones that I had on hand. And there it is, the logo, recreated almost perfectly. And you can't forget Akimu who's standing in for Vision. Pretty awesome, right? So yeah, that was it was a lot of fun. But now, to take apart, get into the nitty-gritty of it. So let's go back. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over. We also did a side-by-side comparison. So there's a lot going on here, but I feel like it's going to drive home the idea of what we did a little better. So let's see. So there's the mountainside. It's supposed to be, Scarlet Witch Quicksilver entering the, what was it, it's not a mosque, it's a temple? Church? Yeah, the church, where Ultron is residing when he calls to them. Obviously for ours, it was just a cardboard area and dimly lit lighting. And of course, you'll see throughout this entire trailer that we very much like to use the 2015 and actually at the time only 2015 set boxes. We still had all those in tags, so heck, why not use them as props? So yeah, I tried to get an exact frame, right? Exact down to the single frame parallel. So some of these scenes were drawn out, right? The footage either wasn't long enough, so we slowed it down, or we sped it up to fit the frames. View of the city, again, also lots of boxes that were strewn about. Ninjago, Bionicle, those are the main sets that I like. I mean, come on. But that's what we had to work with. So a lot of people called out. They say, hey, Kulta must really hate Ninjago. I mean, yeah, because that's basically all the sets that I had at the time. At least the ones with boxes that were still intact. So, yeah. And the Jetrax makes a surprise appearance, even though mostly it's all G2 stuff. So, yeah. That was a cool effect. So, yeah, see, the official trailer fades out a little quicker than that. Basically, this was two videos stitched, just having a bit of a filter, right, one on top of the other, with one of them at only half opacity. So, fun.
I'll take that from them first.
And explosions.
There's only one path to peace.
Obviously no civilians, because I don't have time for that. Yeah, so if you could not tell, I just threw, I believe it was Hero Factory bags. I just threw them at the towers to make them fall. Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of got the point across. And Lego Marvel Studios. Yeah, it's quite the trend. I went on to make a future version for the Infinity War and then Endgame videos. It could happen, right? With the Lego movies right now, it could happen. I'm really hoping there's other Lego movies. The Tower of Toa. That's what I like to call it.
Try to create a suit of armor.
Yeah, and then again, there's my hands, these hands, built in Kulta instead of actual robotic arms, because low budget. No budget.
But I created something.
These shots were all pretty much one-to-one, having the sculpt villains pop out,
It's called the Ultron program.
having a tennis ball thrown, and I guess I should mention it now. I know I've gone on record to say it a couple more times before this, but should have swapped Pohatu and Liua as their counterparts, because I had Pohatu as Thor and Liua as Hawkeye. They should be swapped, especially given their personalities now. That's definitely one change that I would make in here and then other videos. But hey, if I ever do something like this again, that's what I'll do. So you heard it here first, folks. Oh, and this right here, that's a reverse shot. So when Kapaka is getting up, and then there's only a few frames, but it's actually him sliding down and then falling over. So I couldn't recreate it any better than that, so I just flipped the footage. Same thing right here with the car falling off. It's just slowed down. There's even missing frames there.
Isn't why we fight so we can end the fight and go home?
Well, you amazingly failed.
And Kopaka doesn't actually pick up his mask, otherwise he'd knock it over. Lua right here, standing here for Hawkeye, I literally just threw him through. I literally just threw him through the boxes. And of course our iconic shot of all the Avengers, aka all the Bionicle team, right here. I actually have some still photos from here that were of a little higher quality that I didn't actually end up using because they were a different frame, different focal length and all that stuff. But yeah, would have liked to have done that up a little bit more as opposed to just having it against a white background. But since it is such an iconic shot, so again, another thing that I would do differently had we made this with a little more, or a little less campy. Nope. Again, just 2 video layers with opacity down. And then for that shot, okay, sorry guys, I gotta go back again. Right here. That, yeah, that's me dropping Pohatu into the sink. And ever since, actually, the Kopaka, not Kopaka, Pohatu, the Pohatu figure, he's like, where is he? He's right here. Yeah, the Pohatu figure, ever since then, his joints have been extremely squeaky. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, he has plenty of fine posability, but ever since I more or less drowned him and I had to dry him out. So I just thought it was an interesting observation because, I mean, he gets dust still on him, so he's probably back to normal at this point, but yeah, interesting. And again, another vehicle that's just made out of barnacle boxes.
No way we all get through this. I got no plans tomorrow night.
Yep, so this is probably the scene where it differs the most as far as trying to line up with the official trailer. Yeah, so I mean the angle isn't terrible, but you can really tell that they're not on a road, so to say, and they're definitely not on a truck. That's just a bin of acting. That bin holds Hero Factory figures before I disassembled them. But it was nice to kind of get the shot of Kopaka dropping his shield in the same way as Captain America. And Golly swipes up.
We can tear them apart.
And the Hulkbuster, oh boy. So I really should talk about the Hulkbuster a little more. Granted, there was in the tier list video I did a couple weeks back, but this one right here, fully custom, gigantic mess of a mock that I made to outfit Tahu just for this video, just for this exact video. I whipped it up and it barely gets any screen time, so you're kind of, what's the point? But man, it was something to build. And it was this was just me bashing them together, so.
From the inside.
It's funny, that shot of Izator, the Protector of Ice, he's supposed to be punching Kopaka, but he's so short, so it just looks like he does a dick punch. So, yeah. That was pretty good. Having the parallel between the Ultron Sentry and then the Skull Warrior choking out Kopaka over a ledge of some point. That was pretty fun to make. And again, this was at the time where I tried to get proper lighting, except it didn't have actual light, so I just had to use the natural light from whatever day I was filming on. So yeah, it doesn't always work out. You know what's funny about that shot is Onua is shorter than most of the Toa standard, but he's supposed to be the Hulk. So I actually have him standing on top of a box when he slides in to make him actually stand out in the background, but still it doesn't do that much. I really don't know why they made Onua so short when he's supposed to be that much larger than the other Toa, especially in the online animations. So I don't know. It's funny, that was all one shot, just having Kulta fly in, and then my finger is on the gear on his back, so it just turns, so that was interesting. And then the big shot. You know, that scene was much longer. You guys probably tell it's sped up at like, what, 5 times speed? But I do actually have a full footage of me zooming out. And then this. So this, I do have behind the scenes video that I'll show after this, but basically this whole shot of the Toa facing off against all the the G1 characters is basically just me tossing the G1 characters in frame by frame. So each frame, I just tossed another couple of figures on there and then zoomed out a little bit. It was very tedious, and there probably could have been a much better way of doing it. And me doing a cut, and that's just me doing a crotch grab on Onua as he wards off some of the skull villains. And there it is, your title. So, funny thing about this shot as Akimu Vision, there's only maybe 5 shots strung together to make this as it closes in on him. But in the last shot is actually me holding a light above his eye stalk, which makes his eyes light up. And I thought that was an interesting, this was a nice little touch because, right, for the most part, his eyes are dark. And I figured, when it does finally approach him, it didn't really look good when I initially took the photo. So I did it again, and I shined a light just directly on top of it. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that kind of makes it look like it's glowing. And again, nope. Movie does not exist and never will. It won't. And there you have it. That was a lot of rambling, was it not? So, with all that said and done, I do have some other stuff that I'd like to show you. I have some behind the scenes footage and some pictures and movies from when we actually made it back in 2015. So give me 1 sec, and I'll show you some good stuff, hopefully. Well, we're back, so let's take a look at the archives of Bionicle Age of Kulta. So first up, I've got the preliminary pictures of when we made the thumbnail. So the official poster for the movie, which was right here. Yeah, so this is the final poster, but in addition we had some previous versions. This one was kind of oblonged, but before that we had this with a plain background. I initially had them placed on top of the Avengers poster, just literally slapped on, and that's eventually what we went with along with the Bionicle Age of Kulta. But before that we had it plain, and then before that I just had photoshopped them on there, and it wasn't even Age of Kulta, it was Age of Skulls. I believe that was made a couple months before, or a couple weeks before we actually made the video. So interesting concept realization, but after all that it was finally made and it turned out pretty good. But even more interesting than that was how we set up all these shots. So I took all these shots to kind of match up with them. Yep, there you got Golly in the form of Black Widow, Lua as Hawkeye. Again, would totally swap him out for Thor and Pohatu. But after that, so I took multiple shots just to try to get them lined up. And again, these were all just literally just slapped on Photoshop and then cut around them. So pretty awesome, right? Pohatu holding Onua's hammer set-wise. Again, another thing I would change, but I think it looks pretty good. Again, had to get him at different angles to really kind of figure out what it was. Tahu holding his hands up. And as far as this one right here, it was kind of hard to get him in like a pose because, you know, they just have fists. So can't really do much with that. Hey, it's almost an animation, right? All right, and then we get into the main shots. We also took shots for the skulls, the Skull Army in the background. So you got Skull Basher, Skull Scorpio. Fun fact, I forgot to mention this. There is one 2015 set that is present in the poster that is not actually in the video. I did not have the set at the time. You know who that is? Skull Slicer. Skull Slicer I didn't get until probably October of 2015, and this video was made back in August. So they were actually kind of I had all the Toba, all the Protectors, I had the Lord of Skull Spiders even, and I had most of the 2015 second wave, right, as far as Akimu versus Kulta and all the Skull Basher, and as right here we have the Skull Warrior in multiple shots, which I used as the main clone for the stand-in for the Ultron Sentries. However, Skull Slicer was nowhere to be found. He's I literally just copy-pasted the set photo of him. And here we have Akimu as a stand-in for Wow, I only took one shot of him. I guess I only needed one shot because he's up in the background. So Akimu has Vision, and then Narmoto standing in for Nick Fury. And yeah, that's that. And then Kulta doesn't actually get in the shot. Was there anything else? And there's all the video files. Let me see if I can find one of interest. Here are the two. Here's the two videos of Kulta awakening. All right, so that's just me shining a light on him, and then the next one was him without the mask on. So it's literally just those two videos, kind of faded onto each other. I think the mask one was at like maybe 50% opacity when I just maybe just layered them on top of each other. So pretty lazy, but pretty awesome at the same time. Anything else? Oh, here we go. Here's the one I was talking about. So this is me literally just dropping Pohatu into the sink. And I did it a couple times, I think. Yeah. So yeah, Pohatu got wet. Here is Kopaka falling over in real time, not reversed. That's all it is. That's all it is. And we got some more artsy shots. So here is the main shot of our Avengers all together. See, Liwa and Pohatu are just standing on a licorice box, licorice bin that's been around a little while. Kopaka is on top of an old Lego motorcycle. I don't remember which one. I've just had it in my inventory for a little while. And then they use the Tornadoes as well as the Jet Rocks as vehicles in here. That's Kopaka gazing upon the city, Gali picking up the shield, Tahu picking up Akimu's hammer, which was the stand-in for Loki's scepter. That was an interesting choice. They didn't really have any, but they didn't have much lore around the G2 story yet, so that's what we had to work with. Akimu having lies light up. The group shot, yeah, not too impressive, but it's only a brief moment. That's the best you can do? Yes, it is the best I can do. Okay, Kulta in the church with them. There's a grand shot. That's the thumbnail of the 5-year anniversary retrospective, I believe. But this was just one shot during the sequence of them all fighting. So literally it's just a bunch of G1 characters tossed around them. So yeah, there were a few times where I actually bumped the Toa or the other hero characters from G2. And again, this shot's just crazy. You can barely even tell who's there. I mean, you got Kopaka, you got Liwa, you got Tahu, but yeah, that's Korgo right there. Pohatu. See, it's kind of a look and find game. So I'll just give you guys a bit of the BTS and let you guys just revel in it for a little bit. See you in a bit. What's up, guys? Uni here, and this is a little behind the scenes video. This is the last day of filming and the day of release for the Bionicle Age of Kulta Avengers Age of Ultron parody video. So basically this is behind the scenes of filming the final scene, which is the epic swarm that ensues. If you guys Hulkbuster, yeah, more on that later. Remember these bins back from the room tour? These held every single Bionicle set that I had. While some of them are still here, the rest were all used up in this. Yeah. So this is the aftermath of the giant swarm, where they're all coming in on the where they're all coming in on our heroes. You can barely even tell them apart right now. But yeah, basically every other set was just tossed up in that scene. And that little area was built up by the boxes of 2015. But yeah, this is just crazy. Got some of the Skull villains there, and the main reason why I did it this way were all the old sets were the swarm instead of just a swarm of maybe Skull Warrior and Skull Scorpio. The reason I couldn't do that was, well, I don't have an army of Skull Warrior or Skull Scorpio. Plain and simple. But yeah, I thought this would be a nice callback and a nice tie-in. Kind of resurrecting an entire army. An entire army that is G1. On another day. Ah, crap. And that's that. It's been quite the journey. Hard to believe that video came out 5 years ago and to this day is still our most popular one. It's really paved the way and inspired the way we do things now. So, a Bionicle Age of Kulta, our most popular video. I'm very proud of what we accomplished with that video and then what we've done. Moving on from that. But yeah, thank you all for watching and going behind the scenes with me of our Bionicle Age of Kulta video. And thanks for watching this episode of 10th Year Tidbits. A little more of a deep dive on this one because, well, it is our most popular video. I wanted to give it some proper review and treatment. Just because. Alright then. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. Uni out.